Women, your body count does matter.
Mr. Reagan.
Throughout all of human history, men have sought pure women, virgins. Read the literature of any culture. This was a baseline expectation. And even though feminists will dismiss this, the truth is that still to this day, this is what most men really want. But today, finding a desirable woman who is also chaste, good luck. It's basically impossible. Maybe if you're still in high school, but even that is unlikely. So now in our society, we talk in terms of body count. And we men basically have to settle. But here's what's crazy though. There's actually a debate going on social media right now about whether or not a woman's body count should matter at all. Feminists argue that whether a woman has slept with 2 men or 2,000 men, it shouldn't make any difference, that men should find them equally desirable. This is, of course, ridiculous. For desirable women, your number of sexual partners is the most important indicator of your value. The lower your body count is, the higher your value. The higher your body count, the lower your value. And I would argue that this is not merely opinion, but fact. Think about what men actually want. We judge women on just 2 fundamental criteria: desirability and loyalty. That's it. If you're hot and you don't cheat, you can basically get any man you want to marry you. It's really just that simple. But desirability isn't really just how hot you are, it's also how charming you are, how intelligent you are, and perhaps most importantly, how sane you are. And body count is the only reliable metric we have to detect 2 things: how loyal you will be and how mentally ill you are. Because you see, we men, we cannot detect crazy. We have no cradar. Because to us, women all seem a little crazy. And even though that sounds like a joke, that's real. And it actually makes a lot more sense than you might think. I will explain that in one moment. First, of course, I have to sell you something. A lot of people drink way too much in college, and a lot of people carry these habits over into the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and even beyond. And a lot of people hit the party scene and they try drugs. Maybe you're on painkillers, antidepressants, maybe something else. All these things can destroy your liver over time. I personally take medication daily for an inherited chronic illness, and I'm sure many of you can relate. And this is why Purge is offering their new liver cleanse products for anyone who needs to clear those toxins out once and for all. PurgeStore.com offers everything you need to cleanse and detox your body. Powerful enzymes and probiotics, 15-day colon cleanse protocols, a parasite cleanse, and of course, the liver cleanse. Use Reagan as a promo code and get 15% off. If you are worried about the health of your liver, check out PurgeStore.com today. The link is in the description below. So men think that all women are a little crazy, but this is not because women are all crazy, of course. It's because women are just more emotional than we are. If you take a tough hike with a girl, and you push hard enough, the girl will probably cry. Most men will look bewildered, thinking, what happened? Did she just get bitten by a snake? Men don't tend to cry just because things get hard, but most women do. Also, women do weird stuff. Like when they're mad at you for not getting them what they wanted for their birthday, they might not say anything about that at all. Instead, they might rage about not preparing their coffee the right way 3 weeks later. But they're not really mad about the coffee. They're really mad about the birthday thing. But we don't know that. And then they get mad because we can't figure out why they're so mad. So you see why we might think that all women are at least a little crazy. And so we can't really tell the difference between women who are just typical emotional women and the really crazy ones. Because the really crazy ones are often really good at hiding it. And that's where body count comes in, because we do have that one gauge, that one little metric to determine a woman's crazy level. And look, it's not perfect, but it's pretty dang good. Body count. This is not just some manosphere BS. This is backed up by hard science. A study of nearly 3,000 young adults found that women with just 2 or more sexual partners in the past year had a 1.3 times higher odds of poor mental health, depression, and anxiety. That's 2 partners in a year. But it gets worse. Adolescent females with 3 or more lifetime partners had 3.23 times higher odds of persistent sadness and 5.5 times higher odds of suicide attempts compared to virgins. Women with 9 or more premarital partners face significantly higher divorce risk even after accounting for family background and religiosity. The correlation is undeniable. But wait, there's more. Here's what modern science tells us. Each sexual partner literally diminishes a woman's oxytocin release and diminishes her pair bonding capacity. That means every man you sleep with makes it harder for you to love the next one. The disgust that men feel when they hear a high body count number is not drawn from some kind of patriarchal misogynistic hatred or a desire for control, as feminists like to argue. It's genetically programmed within us to ensure our resources go to our biological offspring and not some other man's kids. It's literally built into our DNA. The data is crystal clear. Women with 0 to 1 premarital partners are the least likely to divorce. Girls with fewer partners tend to be more loyal wives. And honestly, I don't really think we need statistics to know that. I don't think this is going to come as a great shock to anyone, but it's there in the data anyway. And look, there's a lot of studies that show this pattern. It's not just one study. The number of premarital partners for women is one of the single best predictors of divorce. To most men, a high body count also indicates poor impulse control, a lack of standards, and low self-esteem. And because most high-value men understand this, having a high body count is absolutely devastating for women. High body counts in women, anything over 10, drastically reduces marital prospects. Now, if you add on a high body fat percentage or single motherhood, basically the woman is doomed to loneliness. So there are all these negative psychological problems and poor quality of life outcomes associated with having a high body count. I mean, this can absolutely ruin a girl's life. But in light of this, why do feminists who purport to want to elevate women, why do feminists always insist that women should feel free to sleep with countless men? And why do they insist that we as a society not judge them for this? This is actually ruining women's lives, and feminists advocate for it. Well, I think the answer is actually personal. I think feminists who run around saying this stuff, I think that they themselves have a high body count, and they feel guilt, and they feel shame, and they sometimes suffer trauma over it. They say they don't. They say that they don't care. But I think they do care. And they know there's a lot of girls out there who are better than them. They know there are women out there who are far more desirable, women who are far more beautiful and sweet and charming, and women who have a far lower body count. And I think that this triggers them massively. You know, crazy leftists, when they are triggered by something, they scream about it. And the way they scream about it is by insisting that all other women act just like them. They want all of the other women to lower themselves to their level. It's the same reason that they encourage beautiful women to cut their hair super short. They want these women to look uglier. They want more desirable women in the world to be less attractive to men so that they, in contrast, will be more attractive. It's sick and it's selfish, but this, I think, in the end, even though a high body count clearly indicates mental illness and a whole host of other negative outcomes for women, is why there is a debate about this in our culture currently. And you might argue with me about the mental illness high body count correlation by noting that correlation does not necessarily indicate causation, but we don't care, Margaret. What matters is the correlation itself. It doesn't matter if the mental illness causes the high body count or the high body count causes the mental illness. The fact is, a high body count equals mental illness and all the other nasty stuff that I mentioned before. Body count is the most reliable red flag that we have. That is why it is totally reasonable for a guy to ask a girl early on, what is your body count? And if she's offended or refuses to answer, well, we have our answer. Look, ladies, it isn't about hating women. This is about reality. Men want pure, loyal partners. We always have, and we always will. You can rage against biology all you want, but you cannot change it. If you want a high-value man, be a high-value woman. And that starts with keeping your body count low. That's it for me. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section below. And remember, it's not that all liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much that is not so. Good night.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars. And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours, history will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.